Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, welcome in general. It has definitely been a hot minute since I've posted on YouTube. I mean, I did post two videos that were like unboxings, but it has definitely been a hot minute since I've filmed a long video and had a chat with you guys. And I know I kind of went MIA for a little bit, and I'll definitely explain more on that later in this video. But yes, I am doing a voiceover for this video because this video was originally filmed I think either at the end of June or beginning of July, so it's definitely been a while. And so I honestly don't even remember what really happened in this video and what I put away when I organized, but I am sure that you guys can just watch and listen to me chat and talk about my life and everything going on, and it'll be okay. It'll be okay. But I'll definitely try to do my best to narrate what I'm doing, but it looks like I'm gonna be chatting more, but I'll do my best. I'm also going to try and do my best and articulate my thoughts as well as possible and try and say things in a way that makes sense, but I'm sorry if it doesn't. It has been a while since YouTube and doing a voiceover and just talking to the internet, so I do feel a lot of anxiety, but hopefully it'll be okay. I think it'll be okay. This video is 40 minutes long as well, so I honestly don't know if I can talk from 40 minutes straight. I feel like that's just a lot of me talking, but I'll do my best. This would be so much easier, honestly, if this was streaming live or something. You guys were sending me questions and or if I was actually chatting with someone, but I'm not, so it's okay. So here I'm starting with my NCT collection, and oh my goodness, I haven't looked at my photo card collection since filming a series of videos back in July, or was it June? I think it was June and July. And so looking at my photo card collection in this video makes me miss it so much. I'm definitely going to have to take a look at my photo card collection soon. So what have I been up to while I was kind of gone for the past 2 months? I kind of reached this point in my mental state where I was just really anxious, and it was starting to hit kind of a stage of low for me, and I could definitely feel that I was becoming more depressed, and my anxiety was definitely up a little bit more, and I think a lot of it resulted from me having been job hunting for so long. I think it was almost a year long. I spent almost a year looking for a job. I mean, I did work part-time jobs while I was looking for my full-time job, but just feeling I wasn't ever going to get hired, and then just feeling stressed out because I know my parents are waiting for me to find a job to help out at home, and then seeing constantly on social media of how well my previous classmates are doing and high school classmates are doing, seeing them get married, have kids, have their PhDs and masters, and working 6-figure jobs and stuff. And it's just, I guess I started feeling the pressure, and I was starting to feel kind of useless and left behind in my life. And I understand, and I know completely, and I tell myself this all the time, that I shouldn't compare myself to other people, and that life moves at a different pace for everyone. But it's one of those things that's easier to tell yourself than it is to actually think and follow through with. And so I was starting to feel very anxious about where I was in life, and feeling I wasn't being responsible, and feeling I was getting left behind. And then I was just not feeling at all confident with myself, whether it was physical looks or mental health, and I was just feeling incredibly off. And so I decided to take some time off of YouTube and completely off of social media as well. You guys may have noticed that I kind of just went blank on social media. I decided just to really take that time off of social media and away from YouTube to just really work on myself, whether it was mentally or physically or spiritually. And so I started working out regularly. I was trying to fix my insomnia and get more hours of sleep in, because sleep definitely has a big effect on your energy levels and your mental state and stuff. So I spent a good chunk of time really just focusing on my physical health. just to feel more confident, more healthy, and if I shed some pounds in the process, that would be amazing as well. I recently even went to go see my doctor, to get some blood tests done and, just have a physical checkup and make sure, everything in my body is running and functioning properly. And it's nice to say that everything is good. I did get a test done recently for my thyroid since they suspected that I might have had hypothyroidism, but we're all good. And recently, I was able to land an interview for a really, really good position. And you guys might have seen my update on Instagram saying that I was interviewing for a position. I got my offer letter last Friday. Today is Thursday, the 5th of August. I signed the offer letter on Monday, and I start on August the 9th, which is next week, Monday. And to be honest, I don't know how busy I'm going to be and whether I'm going to have the energy to film and edit videos. I would like to say that I would, because I really enjoy YouTube and I have so many videos that I need to catch up on and so many just new things I need to tell you guys about. One of the things I also did during my little break was I tried to discover other hobbies outside of K-pop. I did a lot of reflecting on K-pop and my spending and my collection, and I came to a conclusion that I was a little bit too attached. I was 24/7, listening to K-pop, trying to stay updated on everything K-pop, watching all the, YouTube releases and video series and just everything about K-pop. And on top of that, I was also, watching K-dramas, C-dramas, J-dramas, Thai dramas 24/7. And I just felt like it was consuming my life almost to an unhealthy point. Like I made excuses for myself to be kind of lazy in a sense, because I was like, oh, it's K-pop, I love K-pop. And so after taking a break from K-pop and not pressuring myself to be on top of all the releases and everything, it was just really nice. I kind of realized that I can live not attached to my phone or computer. I started reading more. I've always been a huge reader since I was young. I was reading Harry Potter in second and third grade, and I recently started reading novels again, and then I also picked up reading manga again, and I also even started collecting manga. So that's a new thing as well. Besides working out, I started baking again. I started taking more walks outside and just doing things that make me feel better and healthier and just good. It was really a really long period of self-reflection and breaking myself down and analyzing myself, figuring out what my goals are, where I want to be in life, and just figuring out how I can get there, and really thinking about how I can improve myself. What bad habits do I have, which I have tons of. How can I break the cycle, and thinking about my physical health. And I realized I also kind of gaslight myself a lot and self-sabotage myself. And so these are all things that I really need to work on. So yeah. In regards to my K-pop collection, I haven't really spent a lot of money these past 2 months for a various amount of reasons. Like I said, I was taking a break to kind of reset my mindset about my collections. And one of the things I'm noticing is that I definitely don't have more space for another shelf, and my shelves are getting really, really full really, really quickly with just the amount that I was collecting. And now that I've started reading books again and manga collecting, I'm definitely realizing that I don't have much more room. I was originally going to add another shelf, the same one that I currently have, and yeah, but I realized I don't know if I want my room just to be dominated by shelves. I kind of like having space in my room and just having space to breathe and space to do things. So I don't think I'll be getting another collection. So in that sense, I do think I'm going to be downsizing who I collect in terms of albums and photo cards. Mainly because of space, and also because now that I do have a job and my adulting responsibilities and bills are starting to add up, I do want to be more responsible with my money. I have to worry about retirement, investing, saving money, my car insurance, health insurance, phone bill, electricity, food. it's really, really scary. um, and so I definitely will be downsizing and focusing on some of the larger groups that I am collecting, such as NCT, Treasure. I haven't decided what to do with a lot of my collections yet because I just can't imagine myself parting with them. But I guess I'll figure it out when I film that video. I also do want to film like a photo card collection update before I downsize, just so that I can, look back on my collection later on in the year and be like, wow, I had so many photo cards. I do still listen to K-pop every day. I do still try to stay updated on new releases, but I've definitely found that I don't pressure myself as much to stay glued to my phone and watch non-stop K-pop content so that I'm updated. I guess I felt a little bit pressured over my course of my YouTube videos to kind of just stay on top of everything, because I felt pressured because over the course of my YouTube videos, if I wasn't updated, I felt like I would be judged for that, I wasn't a true fan of this group, or I wasn't. But the reality is every one of us has things to do. We all have responsibilities, and none of us can all be updated on everything at every single moment, and it doesn't define who you are as a fan and your value as a fan and how much you love a group. And that was something I definitely had to come to terms with, because comments on YouTube are harsh, and I understand that everyone has the right to voice their opinion. I just feel like people, especially in the K-pop community, are very, very, very nitpicky. They can be very nosy, very rude and very mean, and they just make a ton of assumptions about you, and at some point it does kind of attach itself to you mentally. And as a person with anxiety and really bad depression, as much as you tell yourself not to see these comments, not to listen to these comments, it does kind of stay in the back of your head. And so I'm really glad that I did take a break from YouTube, because I'm in a completely different mental state now, and I feel like my life is just starting to come together, and I'm really in a good spot. And I just felt that, how can I give other people happiness and a joyful video to watch if I am not in that place myself? And so I decided to take a break from YouTube for that reason as well. Something that I really thought about as well is kind of my relationships with other people, whether it's friends or my significant other. And I was looking at myself this past year, and I really noticed that, or the past few years, I should say, I really noticed that I kind of distanced myself from a lot of people. And I realized it was kind of a way to protect myself. I don't really have many friends, and I've noticed my friends have really dwindled down. I have maybe a good 3 or 4 friends that I talk to on a daily basis, and I see maybe 2 of those on a daily basis, if even daily, maybe once a month or every few months or so. And I'm very hesitant and nervous when I meet new people. I have a really hard time. It takes me a really long time to prepare myself to physically meet people, and it also takes me a few days after, because I have so much social anxiety. It's really intense. I don't even know how to describe it. And upon further reflection, I realized that because I've been hurt so many times by people that were close to me in the past, I've started distancing myself, and I've pretty much completely closed my heart off from dating. And I realized that I can't really live my life being afraid of people, being afraid of being hurt. I need to be able to open myself up and, be willing to meet people and be willing to share myself with the world. Otherwise, I'm going to live my life continuously as a hermit, just afraid of the world. And to be the person that I want to be, I need to be a little more brave and a little more confident in myself, and believe that I have good enough qualities that people will want to be around me, and that people will appreciate me for the way that I am, and that people won't take advantage of me or treat me certain ways, if that makes sense. Something that I kind of realized about myself too is that my definition of friendship is also very different from a lot of people. When I make friends with someone, I really expect them to be there like my entire life. Like I'm looking for a long-term friendship. I'm not really looking for someone that's in and out of my life. I want someone that I know I can rely on in the long run, and I also want to like trust them wholeheartedly, and I want to be able to talk to them about anything and everything without being judged. And I want them to be the same way with me as well. And it feels like friendship is a little more shallow these days. I'm not really quite sure how to describe it. Maybe it's just because I'm a person that's very like sensitive to emotion and very like deep and like intuitive. And when I say like be there for me in the long run, I don't expect like my friends to like talk with me like 24/7, because I understand, you know, we're all trying to figure out our lives as adults and trying to figure ourselves out and handle the load that we have to deal with as adults. And so I don't really expect to talk to my friends 24/7. Like I just hope that like, you know, like after a few weeks or like a month, you know, we check in with each other and, you know, we're like, hey, how are you doing? And it feels like we never even stop talking, you know, that kind of friendship. I just want something wholesome and genuine, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm not sure what I'm saying. Like I said, a lot of my thoughts are still very jumbled, and I hope I make sense. Yeah, I don't know. One thing I've definitely thought about a lot is the fact that everyone is on a path on their own journey. And when I say that, I mean that everyone's life is so different from each other's. We can't really jump to conclusions or judge or, you know, assume things about another person because all of our lives are so different. And in perspective, all of us are doing things that we think are best for us. And on our own path to becoming hopefully better humans and better people. It doesn't always happen, you know, some people stay angry and bitter their entire lives and treat people terribly. I'd like to think that, you know, I have faith in humanity and that most of us turn out to be great human beings, but unfortunately that's not the truth. And that's just the way that life is. And so one of the things I've realized about our modern society is that we're very, very quick to judge, very, very quick to assume, and not very empathetic and compassionate towards other people. You know, we're quick to cancel people when people make mistakes. You know, we expect other people to have this perfection and have this like, you know, good human being like naturally, like, and it's not that way because people grow up differently, people are affected differently by different things, and everyone, you know, thinks about things differently. And so I think we as people just need to be more compassionate and understanding and have empathy for other people and allow for people to have room to make mistakes, to become better people. I think people are so afraid of making mistakes nowadays because they don't want to be judged or, you know, looked at a certain way. But I think mistakes need to happen so that we can learn and understand and see different perspectives in situations. Of course, there's a baseline for being a decent human being. You know, I'm not making excuses for anyone, but I do think there needs to be a larger space for people to make mistakes and learn, because we all are going to make mistakes and we're all going to need to learn, and life is just so long, and like learning doesn't ever stop as a human being in my perspective. I don't know, just my 2 cents. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. I'm also sorry if none of the things I'm saying make sense or if I'm not articulating them well. It honestly doesn't even make sense to me when I think about it. So honestly, it's a mess. But for some reason it makes sense inside my head, but once I try to communicate these like thoughts and emotions, it doesn't make sense. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a lot of like, it's like having a huge tangled ball of yarn, and I'm trying to like slowly like unravel everything and just deal with all of my like problems one at a time. I have a tendency to overthink everything and overstress everything, and that's something I'm definitely trying to work on as well. I realized I haven't said a single thing about what's going on in this video. I've been just chatting with you guys and completely forgetting about the point of this video, which is like organizing photo cards. So I think what I've been doing for the last like however many minutes is kind of like organizing my Yua collection. I do have a complete Yua collection now for her album photo cards, and I do have 3 additional Make Star photo cards as well. And this is probably one of my favorite sets of photo cards that I own. They're just so stunning and so beautiful, and I love this set so much. I absolutely adore Yua, and I love her so much. And I was honestly just trying to figure out like a really beautiful setup that I was satisfied with. And so you can see that it took me a really, really long time to figure out a setup. And I think this is actually the one that I ended up with. And I do think I'm actually very content with this setup as well, since it completely fills up like 2 pages. Oh man, speaking of soloists, Somi's comeback, oh my goodness, so freaking good. I have been her fan since PD 101 or IOI, and I have been waiting for her to have a physical album. But I have read in some comments, people were saying that this is her pre-release. Her current comeback is a pre-release for her actual album coming later this year, which makes me super, super excited because I already know I'm going to be collecting all of her photo cards. I am a big, big, big Somi fan. I noticed I've definitely collected more like female soloists and female groups, girl groups over the year, and it definitely excites me a lot more than it used to. I don't know, like girl group photo cards have just grown on me because they're so, so stunning. But one of the things I hate is that there's so many of them. Like the amount of photo cards per release is absolutely insane, and it's driving me nuts because I want to collect a lot of groups and I want to support a lot of groups, but the amount of like album versions and the amount of photo cards seemingly increases with each release for every group, and it makes me so sad because it forces me to budget. But honestly, I think I'm going to adopt what my old mindset was. I'm just gonna buy whatever brings me joy and whatever, I really would like to collect, or if every now and then I want to jump in with a different group and collect like a specific release because I loved it a lot. I think I'm gonna do that versus like forcing myself to collect like only like my old groups. So I think that's gonna be my new approach, collecting whatever brings me joy and letting go of whatever doesn't bring me as much joy anymore, or whatever I can't afford to collect anymore. Even though I have a job now, I still need to be very financially responsible now that like bills are coming on and I gotta worry about retirement. Oh my goodness, it honestly is so scary to me. Like it's so scary to me. Like life in general is so scary to me. I'm going through all these changes and it feels like I can't keep up, and it feels like everyone around me is just doing so well and accepting all these changes, and here I am stressed. I'm a mess, but I'm trying to pull myself together. So some more updates on K-pop and my thoughts on my K-pop collection and what I've been up to with K-pop. I've mentioned that it has been a while. I did take a break from K-pop, collecting pretty much almost completely for about 2 months. And during that time, I spent money on myself. Oh my goodness. So that was like one of the reasons why I also took a longer break from YouTube and K-pop. It's because I started spending on myself, and it felt so weird at first. I almost felt guilty for spending money on myself. But I also felt really, really happy that I was spending on my money on myself, if that made sense. Now that I started working out regularly and weight loss is kind of like in my future, I got myself an Apple Watch, and that was a lot of money. And I've also been saving money pretty much year round for an iPad, and I finally got myself an iPad. I do have an unboxing video which will come eventually sometime. I don't know, whenever I catch up on videos. I'm so behind, guys. You guys don't even know. Like I literally have 5 other videos, like photo card sorting videos, photo card haul videos, and I also currently have a stack of like giant photo cards that I need to put away, and I have a giant stack of like 300 photo cards that I need to trade and sell, and I have a stack of photo cards that I need to open and unbox. And I think it was also hard for me to come back to YouTube because I felt overwhelmed by how behind I was, but I'm realizing I can just take it at my pace. These videos are for myself and for people who want to watch me whenever they can. Like no one really has expectations for me, and I'm just really pressuring myself for no reason. I'm incredibly blessed to have so many of you guys that are so kind and genuine and wholesome and heartwarming, and you guys leave me the most heartwarming messages that just make me motivated to better myself and to, come back to YouTube and be strong. And I'm so thankful for all of you guys. I am incredibly blessed to have such a beautiful community here as well that supports me, and I'm so thankful. I can never say how thankful I am for the lot of you guys. And I still have a lot of your letters, that like trade letters that you guys have sent to me, and I read them sometimes, and I just realize that I'm incredibly blessed, and I'm so thankful. So thankful for all of you guys. But yeah, I'm still on a little bit of a buying hiatus due to the fact that I just spent a huge sum of money on my Apple Watch and like my iPad. But now that I'm working, I do have a little bit more flexibility in my spending again. So I do think I'm going to wait for my first official paycheck, and then I'm going to make a giant order of albums that I'm behind on and things I'm behind on. Yeah, I'll most likely do a video once I catch up as well. It'll probably be a massive unboxing though, because I am super behind. And I do plan on downsizing my collection, like I've mentioned. I think with how many releases there are and how many photo cards I'm collecting per group, I do need to downsize so that I'm a little more updated, I'm a little more focused, and I'm less overwhelmed. I do have to say that as much as I love these groups and as much as I love collecting, it does get very, very overwhelming with how many photo cards and releases there are nowadays. And so for my love of collecting, I am going to downsize a bit. It doesn't mean that I love these groups any less, or I'm not going to continue supporting these groups in any ways that I can. It's just considering my financial ability, my mental health when collecting, and yeah. So I hope you guys can understand in that sense. I'll be doing a downsizing video eventually as well, but before that I would like to catch up on all my videos, and yeah. So now that the video is on to my Gravity collection, I do think that Gravity is going to be one of the groups that I do downsize to just one member. I'm currently collecting OT9, and I love collecting OT9, and I love every single member. I love them all so much. Their group energy and their group charisma is just amazing, and they really bring me so much joy, but they have so many photo cards. So I think I'm either going to keep my favorite sets, collect my favorite sets of photo cards, or downsize to one member. I haven't decided yet. It's just so hard to let go. Letting go is just so hard. I struggle with it a lot, and I'm sure a lot of other collectors struggle with this a lot as well. A new mindset that I have when coming towards collecting, well, not really new, I should say, but like I'm going back to my mindset of focusing more on experiences now that I'm going to have to be a little stricter with my budgeting and spending, just to make sure that I have enough to pay for my bills and, my retirement and investing and a bunch of adult stuffs. It's kind of boring and scary. I'm not going to try and scare you guys, but yeah, I'm going back to trying to focus more on experiences as well. So when I'm downsizing, I'm going to be thinking about whether I would rather have, their albums and their photo cards, or whether I would rather save that money that I'd be spending like $900 a year on their albums and photo cards versus spending like $900 on a front row ticket and seeing them live, and trying to focus more on like the experiences that I want to have in the future, because, concert tickets are definitely not cheap. Like I think about how much I spent on just like, some of my tickets, like I spent like $200 just to see the Rose, and I spent like another $200 for a ticket to see 17, and it wasn't even close seating. It was like I was super far away. And so concert tickets are expensive, and so I think that's a new thing I'm going to factor into how I want to budget and how I want to collect in the future as well. So I'm going to try and focus on that more. Like I've said it in the past, but I've never actually really put it into like I guess works, and so now I'm trying to do that as well. And oh my goodness, now that we're on Golden Child, their recent comeback is so freaking good. So freaking good. And as much as I love collecting Golden Child so much, I love them so much. I love collecting OT10, but oh my goodness, the amount of photo cards they have drives me insane. And so I do think I'm going to be downsizing certain collections. And in my future collections, I think I'm going to be only collecting a few members, even though it breaks my heart to do that. But I got to make sure that I can manage my collections and that, I'm spending a reasonable amount of money on my collections. Because in the past, I have spent way too much money. Like, I don't even want to think about how much money I've spent on K-pop, and it's just a lot. And now that I'm also like getting into newer hobbies, like, baking and like reading, and, going out into nature, hiking and stuff like that, those are experiences and things that I want to focus on as well, to make sure that I'm living like a very balanced lifestyle. Like, I don't want to focus all on K-pop like I used to, because it kind of becomes like a scary, like almost obsession or like lifestyle where it's very consuming and overwhelming, I should say. I recently bought this book about like how to overcome anxiety and how like little tips and stuff like that. And then this book I bought, it was actually on sale at Barnes and Nobles for like $8, but I absolutely love it because it has like so many quotes that just kind of like get my mindset like reset. Let me give you an example of one of the quotes that they include in the book that I absolutely really love. One of the quotes that I really like is that one small positive thought in the morning can change your whole day. And this really affected me because I often start my day off thinking negatively right off the bat and just stressing out. And I realized that maybe I need to be a little more positive, and I need to attempt to control my stress and anxiety, because it's never going to go away. And I just need to enjoy myself in the moment as well. Like, one of my favorite quotes as well is, do not anticipate trouble or worry about what may never happen. Keep in the sunlight. Because I always stress about things that are out of my control, or I always, overthink things and anticipate things that I might need to stress about in the future. Like, for example, during my job hunting process recently, I mentioned my interviews. I got 2 interviews, and I prepared for them so much, and I prepped for them. And my cousin told me I was good after practicing them. Like, he said I was going to do amazing. Like, I was very prepared and I was going to do well. But I just kept stressing and stressing and stressing, almost to not almost to the point, but to the point where I wasn't able to sleep at night, which is incredibly unhealthy. Like, anxiety is definitely normal, and worrying is definitely normal, and stress is definitely normal, but not to the point where it's affecting your health and your ability to function and, sleep and things like that. And I was stressing about how like I probably wasn't even that good, and how like I just probably failed the interview. But no, I ended up getting the second interview, which was doing a demo or presentation. And I was so stressed out for the demo as well, since it was my first time doing a demo. And I was doing a demo in front of 10 other people in this field of work, and I was incredibly stressed out. And after pulling off the demo, even though my cousin said it was an amazing demo, since he works in the exact same role, and he's very successful at what he does, I still didn't believe in myself. And I realized I should have faith in myself more, and in my hard work that I put into the things that I do, because I was just stressing like, oh my gosh, what if I'm not as good as other candidates, or like what if I didn't do this well. And I was like constantly thinking of, after my interview, like what I could have done better. And I need to be able to let go of these thoughts and just realize that I've done my best, I've done the work, and I just need to accept things as they come and the decisions that may come, and just relax a little bit more. So that's something that I've come to terms with that I need to improve on as well. Okay, so I'm low-key out of things to say, but we're on One We now, and speaking of One We, I think their last album was called Alter Ego. Oh my goodness, their music is just so wonderful. I love them so much, and I cannot wait till the pandemic is over and they have a concert, or like a fan sign in person, because I'm gonna be there front row at their concert, screaming my head off and singing their songs. I think the first time I heard of One We was actually through Regulus, and Oh man, I was listening to Regulus like for 3 months straight, just the one song. Every single time my friends would be on Spotify, they would be like, "You're still listening to Regulus?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's my jam." I absolutely love their music so much. I think my favorite song is definitely Regulus, but in terms of my favorite album, Memory Illusion was so good. Oh, that album was so good. I can't even tell you how good that album was. Like, I listened to it on repeat for so long. Yeah, it was crazy. Okay, so here we have my Wii collection. I currently am collecting Yonga, and I don't know where I'm going to go with this collection, to be honest. This was one of those impulse decisions that I made while I was incredibly stressed, but I really do love the group, and I do love Yonga as well. Oh my gosh, he's so talented. The whole group is so talented, but I need to control my impulses more when I'm stressed. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this collection yet. Ideally, I would like to continue on, but I've noticed that Yonga photo cards are kind of expensive, and there's also a ton of photo cards as well. I think something that has been like making me very hesitant to collect when it comes to newer groups, or just when collecting new members or groups, is that there's just so many, and so I'm just a lot more hesitant, and like, yeah, I want to be more updated on my collection, so that's also something that I'm thinking about as well. Anyways, oh wow, this is pretty much the end of the video. I can't believe I talked for almost 40 minutes, guys. This is really shocking to me, but this is the end of the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch up with you guys more in the future. See you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.